Ladies and gentlemen, today we have a Sunday Tete tea, a new flavor to the show. Our guests on this edition is a self-made dynamic entrepreneur, Mr. Manish Mehta, Managing Director, Reifenhäuser India, and joining him is the talented and brilliant second generation Jinali Mehta, Manager at Reifenhäuser India. I have divided this session into two segments, MM and Janali. First is, of course, the work, and second is the unplugged banter between the first generation and the second generation. Both of us, we are having here today. And the second generation has a mind of their own, MM. Be careful. I am delighted to have both of you with us today. And to see you is such a pleasure. We warmly welcome you to the show Insights with Nidhi Verma.
Thank you, Nidhi, for inviting us, and let's make it very interesting.
Yes, and we'll keep it like a quick answer, spicy, sweet, and short. It's a Sunday evening, and I'm sure we're going to enjoy it a lot. Beginning the business segment, Manish, what hobbies have kept your company during this lockdown? I'm starting the business segment with your hobbies.
I think reading and a little bit health regime, which I have neglected for a long time. And I think another thing is I'm planning a new venture. So I invested a lot of time into a new company, which I'm going to form by end of the year.
I hope that you're going to share details of that new venture as the session goes forward. I know your passion for holidaying. This pandemic must have hugely impacted your travel plans, MM.
Absolutely. I mean, you cannot imagine kind of a frustration I am having here.
Okay.
It is indirectly a prison, but anyway, we have to be on the long-term benefit, and especially being the two grandkids, we need to be very more careful and quarantine ourselves, so we avoid taking any risk as a family.
Well taken. MM, how do you feel about creating a company and working for a company? I understand you began your company in 1994. What made you take that plunge?
Listen, this is one of the big luck, I will say, from the destiny, or maybe blessing from my elders, is that what I studied, I worked for about, let's say, 1 decade in a 2-3 organization, and then I made this as a profession. And I think the only driving factor has been the passion. I'm very passionate about new technology, new product, and introducing, branding them gives me a really big kick.
Your passion is infectious. All of us agree to that. I did watch a movie, Rocket Singh, during this lockdown, and I was instantly reminded of you. You are famous as a super salesperson. How have you earned this tag, MM?
Listen, Nidhi, this super salesman, all those adjectives are nice to hear, but fundamentally you must understand there was a theory in the past, people used to advertise that a good salesman can sell a refrigerator to Eskimo. But in today's modern science, if you sell a refrigerator to Eskimo, yes, you can sell, but they will never come back to buy again. So it's very important what has changed over a period of time, that you have to sell what is sustainable and you get a repeat business, and people, you have a trust of the people, and what you sell should perform based on for what you have sold. So the most important part is that when you sell any particular thing, the inherent strength of the product can never be diluted. So this is the first part. The second part, the people in the industry or in other area feel sales is not a science, it's not a technology. But I believe firmly from my childhood days till today, sales itself is a technology. You have to do a lot of work if you want to sell a product. Not only do the market features, but understand the application, will it fit to the Indian market, to Indian context, and convert into, let's say, a sellable solution and a good return on investment. Nobody wants to buy which has a return on investment for 7, 8, 10 years. So you have to make sure that what you sell is not the machine as a hardware, but the technology and the application. And that is what I think was the main reason behind whatever we created so far.
Well taken. There's such a huge plethora of products in your Reifenhäuser India stable. What is the background or the philosophy for adding such a huge variety?
Listen, imagine why supermarket exists. Imagine why the department store exists all over the world. What you do is you go and you are prompt to buy something different. they even keep something at the selling in the payment counter, some product, so that you can just pick up small thing and add to the total billing. So idea was that the additional product was created by my customer, not by me. When I used to go and sell Reifenhäuser blown film light, many friends in the industry, a few are still existing, few are not existing. They said, hey, you are doing good, and what you are doing rest of the day, because in those days, you can sell only in 93, 94, 95, 96, 97, 98. You were at home selling 3-4 machines a year. So what you do in the rest of the time? Nothing.
And your energy needs some outlet. It is too much of energy. We all know that.
At those age, I was 31 to 35, and I said the only way out to dissipate those energy or bring those creative ideas or do something is to bring more product to the same customer. So that was a big risk and a very conscious decision. And I had to convince my board, which is extremely strong board in Germany, that Reifenhäuser worldwide do not sell many products. That is like many subsidiaries you see in India. But I convinced them, being a 50% shareholder, that I would like to use such a big potential of Indian market, as well as what ideas I have to add a product line which is not competing but complementing Reifenhäuser. And we went in the same top level machinery or a technology or applications which fits into Reifenhäuser category. And we added, like, you cannot sell a film alone, so you need to print or laminate or slit or make a pouch. So we almost went to the related industry.
I think this is one of the very few examples that Reifenhäuser have had an agency business. They are majorly into otherwise a manufacturing company. So it is a one-off model that they have created for India.
Also the model, it is a unique model. Reifenhäuser, every subsidiary belongs 100% to Reifenhäuser.
Okay.
Only India and now Middle East and Africa, what we have started recently, that it is 50-50 joint venture. It's a very big honor for us, and also at the same time, big responsibility.
Yes, and it's worked well. It's worked very well. Yeah. What are the main parameters on base of which you choose your various partners, or you look at the technologies, what the country needs? How is it that you make your decision?
Very simple. Not a rocket science again, a former rocket scene. Who are number 1, 2, 3 in the world market? Based on their reputation, past history, sales, service, and the long-term interest in India, especially developing country market. When I say India, from this day even today, most of the investment is on the developing the market. So people who believe they are on top of the market has a ability to invest those resources, time, money, and people. Basically, we try to make our partnership and explain them from the beginning what to do, how to do, and when to do. And we have a joint strategy with them. And then the only implementing part that follows.
You take them through the full cycle. Jinali, I'll bring you in here. What USPs do you think that your dad has? Of course, he represents the company, that those companies, because he goes for the best in the world, choose him.
I think, Nidhi, one of the biggest USPs that he had, and I think that's a very part of his nature, is his ability to blend it and make the opposite person feel very comfortable. And of course, his ability to sense the pulse of the market and to convert that sense into an opportunity and eventually into a business. And I think third most important, the team that he has created in RIMP, his mentorship. I think these three aspects make him what he is.
Okay. So the mixture is concoctious, as to say, on a Sunday evening, right? Okay.
Fantastic.
Yeah. What reasons you attribute, some companies that were there earlier in your portfolio are not there now? You'd like to share some thoughts on that?
I have to say, couple of companies left us and couple of companies we left. The fundamental is sometimes we are too expensive for someone. They cannot afford us because they are cheap. Second, they feel their work is over and they can do better on their own, could be another reason. And they'd like to, somebody doesn't like to come under the brand name of Reifenhäuser and they want to have their own brand. Could be many reasons. our living was something, not too many, but few, because their priority was not India, number one. They didn't have a product to fit into our range, or they didn't have resources in terms of time or people who can be dedicated to the Indian market, because Indian market in a developing stage is extremely demanding. We invest a lot in terms of developing it. And if
So various reasons and yeah.
Agree first and they do not agree, then it becomes a difference of opinion. They're better to separate and
yeah, it's better to part ways. Yeah. Jinali, sub companies, they set up the wholly owned subsidiaries in India. India is a huge market. And some go the agency route. What do you think are the pros and cons for both? Because both coexist.
True. The way I would look at it, Nidhi, would be it all depends. A lot goes down to to each company's vision for itself. However, where if a company feels that we would like to have our direct access to the market and we just want to sell this equipment in the Indian market, and that's that. So in such a case, they prefer to normally go directly, the way we look at it. But when a company has a much bigger vision, branding, brand positioning, market intelligence, setting a trend in the market consistently for many years with an extremely strong service support, such that they are remembered for many years to come. So this, I think, would be a major differentiating factor between companies who own direct offices, because they would be probably one person or maybe 2 or 3 people at the max. While what we come with is a team of 70 people with 7 offices all across the country, catering even to the entire Indian subcontinent. So I think we're talking of completely different scales in such a situation.
Well explained. Manish, how do you see the competition in India in the plastic machine sector? There are a lot of indigenous companies also.
listen, full marks to Indian manufacturer. Some of them have come up very well, and I respect and recognize them. So the only way out is we go to higher scale of technology. I mean, in terms of not only output, but most important is consistency, change over time, wastage, power, and so forth. So we have developed a niche into various segment of the market and keep on developing new segment on a higher level, new application. Like I see the blown film line, the lower segment is scattered by 2, 3 good local manufacturers. We went to another level to 9 layer and 11 layer and MPO films and wider and wider and wider. So we keep on our niche. I mean, technology, what we work with is on the top of the pyramid. I will say between 12 to 20% of the top market. We have not ability to cater to the middle segment or the lower segment in terms of price or performance or everything. So even if you say machinery in our league, you run after 20 years with the same output, same quality.
Okay. So your strategy is well laid there to take care of only the niche.
And we keep on improving. This is another thing.
Okay. Now the last question for the work segment. What goals have you set for your company, Manish, before you finally decide to hang your boots?
Listen, as you know, as a first entrepreneur, we always had a goal about making so much money, turnover, people, blah, 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 bullshit. But as you grow in a life, as you grow old, this becomes very small. It looks very small. Idea is to have a company run 100% professionally, number one. We respect, like Jinali said, our professional team a lot. And I think gradually a very clear process inside the company to run it professionally, and then we continue more, number one. The second is we want to be the topmost agency house, not only in India, but Middle East and Africa. And not only sell the hardware, but service whatever we sell 100%, not only mechanical, electronic, software, but process technology as well. And also create a brand for each suppliers in the household name. If you buy a surf, or you buy a Colgate, or you buy XYZ, it must be a film from Reifenhäuser. It must be printed on a Maxi machine. It must be done on this, those kind of things.
Oh wow, the wish list is sounds beautiful end to end. On that note, I'm going to bring to the next segment on this Sunday evening, which is the experience versus exposure segment. Jinali, coming to you, a lot of women are running the business houses in India. Where do you see the gaps for women?
It would be right for me, Nidhi, to talk more on our industry because this is what I've been doing for over a decade now with Reifenhäuser India. Basically, I agree that I think the sales of capital goods, as far as Indian women are concerned, they do not really go hand in hand as much, the front sales. While I would proudly say that a lot of women from our industry are a big part of the management of many manufacturing units, also business development, research, and I think sales of raw material as well. And it's I think wonderful to see these women going traveling, and I meet them at different platforms, and including you. So I think it's wonderful, and more to women.
Pats on our back, Jinali. I'm with you, 1 and 1, 11 and 111.
Yeah.
Manish, how do you compare the performance of women versus men in Indian plastic industry? And please be very honest. We know we are 2:1 in this evening with you, but still don't be scared
Listen,
by us.
listen, in my life, I've been surrounded by women a lot. And I have been blessed with some very trusted people all around. So, but this is a men's industry. It's a men's world. And it has to be a gradual process. Anything what you do suddenly or more or push too hard, it will break. This is a normal physics. But the new generation sitting next to me and you and many others I know, they are brilliant. Their passion, their penetration power, their aggression, their ability to go in depth is amazing. They don't believe in any superficial thing. They don't believe in yesterday or today. They're all working for tomorrow, day after, or a month or a year ahead. So I think in terms of intelligence or analysis or vision, they don't lack anything.
No, that's beautiful. And I think, Jinali, you'll also support me when I say that for my own self, I can say that we've never faced that glass feeling. This industry has been so warm and so encouraging. They've only kind of given us back much more than what we have tried to do. So actually, through this platform, we thank all of them to actually allow us to be a part of them.
Very true. And Nidhi, this honestly, a little bit insight. This industry or this platform has also given me the opportunity of interacting with many Far East women. And I very proudly say that, unlike India so far, I would say, these Far East women are very much involved in the sale of capital goods. So I don't think that we are very far from that day when women from our country also will have their level of acceptance in the sales of the capital goods in our industry, or for that matter, any industry. It could be automobile, wires and cables, XYZ.
Absolutely. More power, as you said earlier. What is it that you will ask your next generation, that is Jinali sitting next to you, to mark in their to-do list from your learnings?
One thing, never go away from the ground reality. Be grounded and be with the customer to understand the pulses of the market. This is the biggest thing one has to know when you are to be marketing or selling expert. So if you go away from the market, you are gone. And you have to have a very strong nose and ears and eyes to see or listen or smell what is not told. Because life is beyond what you visualize or what you hear, or you have to hear or listen or understand in between the lines. So this is most important. And second is values. Never compromise on certain values on which our foundation is based, be a family or a company. And I'm very fortunate to say that our partner, right from the family, has a very similar philosophy. So very easy to connect and progress further. It's been really, I have to put it on the record on this note, that it has been one of the best partnerships we had It started with Mr. Ulrich Reifenhäuser as my friend, and now, of course, we have Mr. Bernd Reifenhäuser, who has taken over as CEO, and the same spirit, same momentum continues.
How heartwarming to hear that. Manish, as a first generation entrepreneur, there would have been many things that you would have, you've set up an empire right now, but would have learned the ropes the hard way. What is the one thing that you will tell your next generation to avoid, strictly avoid? You would have done it, but you will tell us not to do.
Don't listen to the wrong people. Don't believe whatever you listen.
Yeah. Okay. Yes. Jinali, we heard that, right?
Loud and clear.
Loud and
clear.
Oh, yeah, yes. Okay. Manish, what major changes that Jinali wants to bring in and you resist? You say no.
I can tell you one example. She was telling me to have an HR specialist for a long time. And I think for 5 years I resisted. And then I realized in a recent 6 months back that it is unavoidable. The value of HR in the company. It's a small company and I want to be near to my people and I don't want to create a gap and all those negative ideas. Till she somehow convinced as a family and we brought a professional HR. So this is one value. The second, also the value of service. I think these are the two big achievements I think I would give a credit to.
Okay. Jinali, what perceptible influences that you think you've brought in to your father, his way of working after you joined him, that should be about a decade back?
If I look back, there would be very broadly naming it, Nidhi, I think I would be able to count key 4 or 5. Beginning with the HR, it was a big achievement. It took me 5 years, but we got there. Because a marketing company thrives on its people. And people management is key. So, which is why I thought that it was time to bring in somebody who could look after our people, for us time to time. Somebody neutral. Another key is digitalization of the company. So I strongly believe, including now, I mean, it's not just me. I think the whole world is now going towards digitalizations, and our IMPL is no exception. From our marketing to our sales to our finance. I mean, everything mostly is digitalized now, and I think that would be the way to go. Making the company more, I think, system oriented, and not dependent on the small aspects, but just dependent on the system. And I think engaging with brand owners time to time. I think this was very important for our kind of business with the FMCGs to understand the pulse of the consumers, who are the ultimate crowd that we are all working for.
True. And I think the last point that you said, very highly appreciated, because all the brand owners that I've been speaking to also, they're looking at their vendors not as vendors strictly now, they're partners, because so much of circular economy would require collaboration, and also whatever niche new value additions that have to come forward, they would be in a kind of a partnership. So your point is very well taken there.
And another one biggest thing is, Nidhi, our global service. We are providing, we have almost close to doubled our service team, because Reifenhäuser India is taking its services, of course, to Middle East Africa and to other parts of the world as well on behalf of our suppliers. And this team,
that's very good to hear. Oh, wonderful. So that means you become your base and you're providing services from the hub here, right? Am I getting it correct?
Absolutely.
Wonderful.
Absolutely.
Well done. Well done.
But Nidhi, I tell you one thing, the biggest contribution of Jinali is to calm me down.
Sorry?
Calm me down.
Calm you down.
For my aggression and everything else, it helps, and it helped me more after she gave me a 2 little engine. So this is 2 grand.
I know. Yes, we came to your 25th Silver Jubilee, and I saw those 2 pretty angels, and I saw that all the time, though you had the whole industry, your eyes were only on them. I could see that. Yes, that is a law of nature, I guess. All circle comes back. Jinali, one very important question I have is that the IQ and the EQ in Manish's generation, right? We consider him one generation behind us.
Yeah.
Very balanced, very balanced. I also get the opportunity to interact with a lot of business houses in our industry
Sure.
across. What I've
Sure.
noticed is that his generation, they put a lot of focus on EQ, which
Right.
is like management of the people, how to run the organization. The IQ is there, but I think the ratio they would put is a 60-40, if I may say. Manish, is that correct? That is how you would put the EQ, right? It is like the bonds, been working with us, lot of the emotional quotient. Jinali, how would you rate both percentages, IQ and EQ, now in the modern management?
Um, I fully respect what was done for so many years. We are 26 years old today in the company in India, and I fully have my due respect for whatever he has done with his senior team, etc. And we too enjoy a lot of. We believe in that team, and we have a lot of respect for all those people who've been with us for so many years, undoubtedly. But there has come a time wherein we have a lot of young generation in our organization as well. Now, of course, along with us, so are the professionals. So there has come a time where now I think the balance is moving a little bit more towards IQ, I would say, and for no other reason. But I think it's just about circumstances and expectations from both the sides. And also, what has happened in this, Nidhi, is that there is no black and white. You can't have the same way you handle everybody at every level. You have to respect the people who have been with you through the journey, who have shown their loyalty, and who are your go-to people and your pillars in the company. While you have a younger lot, which is grooming, where we are grooming and developing them for the next for the growth in the company. So I think certain amount of balance is a must. But definitely, answer to your question, the balance does move a little bit more towards IQ now.
Honestly, Chef, thank you for that. Manish, I wanted to always ask you that, in this pandemic, we've kind of talked few times. What are your two main realizations, as I would say, enlightenment, the Buddha moment, so as to say, after the pandemic hit us? Everyone has gone into a lot of, thinking and evaluating their lives. What are your two takeaways?
Listen, for me, this is a temporary phenomenon. This cannot last permanently. But definitely one thing, a lot of things will change. The way to look at the life. For example, working from home will become way of life. I mean, investment in big offices and everything is for me, for practical, is done because we realize there is no fall down on the business or a relationship because we are working on a video or audio calls. Of course, time to time meeting a customer exchange is a must, but not for the business. The existing customer, we have a long-term relation has no influence. So one thing, what we believe that a relation cannot be maintained from distance or something, it is a history, is gone. We can, with the right effort and the right time calling and intelligently calling, we can do the same. The second, it gives us a lot of time, save a lot of time to think. Think about the people, the most important, how we can do the betterment of our own people life, or family life, or people around us who are supporting us. We can bring much more value to the society and people. This time, we used to spend 2 to 3 hours a day for doing nothing. Is bonus. So you can take care of your health. You can read something more. You can be more creative. So a lot of time has been invested in more constructive things. Initially, yes, was lazy and frustrating, and I slept in the afternoon.
Yeah. Watch so much of binge watching.
Yeah, lot of things. But now, I think what we could not do in the past, we could achieve as individual, as a family, as a colleague, and everything, and have fun. So I will not give a particular big learning or something, but you value people. Suppose you want to talk to your colleague every day, hey, please take care of yourself. Your area is big and quarantine this, do this. So I think for me it was eye-opener in those cases. And one is I value myself more than before individually, and I value the people around me more than before.
Wonderful. Jinali, did you get more time to spend with your little angels since you didn't have to travel? Did you really value that?
My God, I think this is the longest time I've spent with them. My older one is 4 and my younger one is going to be 2 next week. And I think this is the longest time I've spent with the both of them since their birth. So I think it was much needed, and now it's getting difficult, but yeah, because I have both of them as well.
Yes, yes, yes. That's also, I've heard the mother say that also. Jinali, does he banter you a lot saying that I have sown the seeds and I've done all the hard work and you guys are just having fun and kind of having the fruit so easy? Does he do that a lot with you?
Regularly, probably 10 to 12 times a day.
To say the least. To say the least.
Whenever he calls,
Okay.
you know, whenever anytime something new or good happens, this was something which, you know, this was the seed I had sown. So you're reaping.
Yes, to bring you back.
It is very true.
See, he will not also miss this opportunity to say that.
Until does he realize that, you know, the child does come from the father. So that it started from there. So, you know, this is well earned basically. So yeah.
Okay, we give it to him, no problem. And Manish, does Jinali come back to you and say, Dad, now please tell me when you hang your boots. Let me handle all this with your team. You've made a good team. Does she say that?
I think in last 6 months, yes.
Yes. Okay.
Started. I mean, she has a perfect people around him, and she has a good experience and the team. So I think it will be a very conscious effort in this direction. But nothing, as I said, I don't believe any sudden, because the law of physics doesn't allow me. But she tells me, and I think it's going to happen. Absolutely, no doubt about it. But there are some more surprises, Nidhi. Before that, you will see during the course of this year.
Yeah. I was coming to that. We are hoping to really unveil, maybe if things don't become better soon, maybe on a digital session, we'll be unveiling what your stable has to come forward. But I'm very inquisitive to have a peek into that, maybe a next session. And of course, I'm going to wish your younger one a happy birthday right in advance. And hopefully be a part of the virtual celebrations. It's been a perfect Sunday Tete, and I could not find a better, team to start this new angle of doing a little bit of fun. We worked enough, and starting of a new week, this little session will, I think, bring a lot of smiles to all our viewers. With that, I'm going to take your leave. Enjoy your evening, and we'll see each other soon on the other side.
Thank you, Nidhi.
Nidhi, have a nice glass of wine on me next time, and cheers, and have a good evening. All the best.
I'm just ordering the chambers, Taj Chambers, to send me their house wine now. The bill they'll send to you.
Stay safe.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Take care. Bye. Thank you.